Nerd Rage Renegades.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're having a great week this week here in February. We hope you're not heathening in the streets. We hope you're doing the Lord's work. We really do. You know, Chief, when
Just
the Lord is with you.
Was it just like David in the briar patch, or David in the jungle?
Surely, Chief, you remember Mary in the briar patch? What happened to her? Surely you remember Joseph in the oasis?
Daniel in the lion's den.
And of course, you know the great story of Sodom and Grundy.
Hey everybody, Nerd Rage Renegades here.
Talking some Djibouti before we went on the air. Just having some fun recapping what they did this last week. It's been a great week for the Nerd Rage Renegades. We have watched some fantastic fucking movies.
Oh man, we got some funny shit coming out soon.
Oh god, some great movies. I got a shit ton of new old video games this past week because I found a new retro game store like 16 minutes from my house. So of course I had to go loot and plunder this week.
Got my Swamp Thing winter special in the mail that I had to order because I forgot to put it on my actual hard copy pull list.
So you got it.
I do have it. I got it for Tom King. Tom King today told me that he would in fact sketch, even though he's not an artist, really. I don't know how good he is at art if he took his time, but he's been doing sketches on people's books that are these stick figure drawings on the covers. So I've actually got his confirmation that he will draw me a Val Kilmer as Batman fighting an ostrich. And I have to find that his first Batman story, I think, when he took over for Snyder. Have him draw that on it.
It's congratulations to Black Panther breaking all sorts of box office records in its first weekend. I have not seen it yet, plan on it, but I don't. We say many times I don't go to the theaters the first weekend because I hate being in a crowded theater. I'd rather go later on where I can sit down and quiet with maybe like a couple other people, not like the full theater. I want to go and enjoy it.
I want to have like an empty seat next to me, at least one empty seat next to me.
I want like an empty seat next to me, in front of me, and behind me.
Yeah, just some solitude.
No children with light up shoes.
Yeah, I was justified, but yeah, I want to see. It doesn't surprise me that it's doing good. It's like if people I just know from my experience, I've Black Panther's been one of my favorite heroes since I was a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old, getting my first Marvel comics. Black Panther Cap team-ups were my favorite book at the time when I was really little. So I've loved Black Panther since I've been a really little kid, and I can't think that there's got to be you like Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like that. I knew that there would be a huge want of this when it was even announced, so it doesn't surprise me a bit because I know I wanted to see it for my whole life.
Yeah.
So
see, and I love Black Panther because this movie establishes him, it establishes Wakanda. Hopefully, Marvel will go the sensible route and introduce Atlantis and give us the Wakanda Atlantis war. That would be interesting. I'm just saying on the screen that would be interesting to see Namor against two kings. Namor versus
I want to see.
T'Challa.
I would love to see Namor. I would like to see they'll never do this, but I would love to see Namor introduced somehow, and then somewhere down the line an original Defenders movie with Doctor Strange, the Hulk, and Namor, just the three of them, like the first three appearances where they was just when they came together.
But now that the Defenders are so they're so nowadays people are synonymous are it's Daredevil and Jessica Jones and all them. That's what they think it is. It's not the
Yeah,
original
well, that's why I
Defenders.
said they'll never do it because they'd probably confuse too many people
Yeah.
as to what's going. But then they did introduce the original Guardians and Guardians 2, so it was like who knows what the hell they're
That's
playing.
true. I would like to see Namor come in and then maybe they do like a flashback with Cap to like the Invaders.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool too. You have to get with Namor and like the android Human Torch,
The Hammond torch, yeah.
Union Jack.
Oh, Union Jack would be good. But yeah, Black Panther doing fantastic at the theaters. Of course, it sets up, the after credit. There's an after credit scene. We're not talking about it because Chief hasn't seen it. No spoilers here.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
There's some setups there. So congratulations, all involved, the director, the cast, everybody involved in Black Panther. Congratulations, great job, and looking forward to what's coming next. I think what's next? Next is Infinity War. So
yeah, Captain Marvel they're filming right now. So
yeah, and I saw like set photos. Now I don't know if people are doctoring set photos. I saw the one where she's in green, where like the suit's kind of green, kind of like Marvel's. And I like that if they do that, if they like start off with like the green as like a homage to Marvel, or even if Marvel is in the movie in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I have not heard a bit of plot to that movie. I've only seen the one or two pictures from the set, but I haven't heard anything about what it's supposed to be like.
See, and now this is what's going to be interesting with Captain Marvel is, are they gonna? I mean, what are they gonna do with her? Because you got to think Carol Danvers has so much history. Are they just gonna kind of like retcon her entire history, binary and Rogue stealing her powers, all that stuff?
Well, I mean, look what they did with they pretty much did that with Spider-Man. I mean, they just kind of let you assume all his origin happened, and it just kind of got to it. Which that's the one thing that makes Spider-Man: Homecoming. Well, it's my favorite of all the Spider-Man movies, but one of the reasons it is because it jumps right to him. He's already been in Civil War.
Yeah, he's already Spider-Man.
You jump right to him being Spider-Man, doing Spider-Man shit. And he's man, that guy, that Tom Holland or whatever his name is, that kid is perfect Peter Parker. Like, he's got the personality right. And like I said before, I think I said it on the show, there's some scenes of that movie that look like they could have been right out of a Spider-Man comic book.
Yeah.
Like, where he's just hanging out on a fire escape eating a sandwich, like with his mask. Like, that's the kind of scene you'd see a panel like that in Amazing Spider-Man.
And see, one of the big complaints people had about Spider-Man: Homecoming was Aunt May, because it's Marissa Tomei. Now, me, as much as I love Spider-Man, I always had an issue with Aunt May being geriatric.
It never made any sense.
It never made
Should have been
sense
his
to me.
great aunt at least.
Yeah. Like, how old were his parents? If that's because Aunt May's what, his mom's sister? No. No, because their last name is Parker too. So that's
his dad's brother, right?
Yeah. So his dad's brother was Ben, married to Aunt May. But it's like, how old were his parents, and how old was Ben? That they're like geriatric when he's.
It's like the sliding Marvel timeline, man. It's like, and that's what's weird about people not accepting that. It's like, because look how much shit there's. Stuff that I guarantee that something that somebody complained about that, I guarantee something they love's been retconned and changed from what it was originally, and they love it the way that it's been changed.
And I love Marissa Tomei. I'm sorry, I love Marissa Tomei.
It's a fucking non-issue. What I'm looking for in a Spider-Man movie is, did they get Spider-Man right?
Yeah.
Did they get the peripheral characters? As long as the peripheral characters are there and serve the function that they serve in the comic book, I don't really care what the fuck they do with them. Like, Ned Leeds is not a fat little kid in the comic books.
No.
So, I don't know about Ultimate. I didn't really read Ultimate Spider-Man. I read one issue. I didn't like it.
Didn't he end up becoming like a villain, Ned Leeds? Didn't he become like one of the Hobgoblins? Or
he was hypnotized to believe he was the Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
It was like a false. It was like the what's his Roderick, whatever the King, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, Roger King.
He's the set him up, like hypnotize him to like put on the suit and like take the fall or something.
I mean, as far as casting goes in the Marvel movies, there's not one casting I looked at and said this blows. Everybody has pretty much been on point, fantastic. I mean, talking about Spider-Man, Michael Keaton was fucking amazing as Vulture.
Yeah. Yeah,
And they gave
I liked his Vulture.
Well, as you've said before, they gave Vulture more than he's just an old geriatric villain. They gave him more purpose, and the fact that they introduced damage control, you know, and all this other stuff that they introduced in that film, and with Time Daly.
Shocker, I think Scorpion is in that one.
Yeah, Gargan. They mentioned Gargan in there. Shocker. I mean, just so many villains that are gonna end up becoming. And I mean, I think they talked.
Well, yeah, and it had a purpose to exist. Like in the Sony Spider-Man movies, it's like the villains just seem to pop up. Like they didn't really have any purpose to why they were there. Like Rhino in the second one. Like why the fuck was he introduced at all?
I'm the Rhino. I'm the Rhino. I'm sorry, Paul Giamatti. I love Paul Giamatti, but I'm the Rhino.
I stand behind him being Kolchak in a movie. I think he'd be good Kolchak.
He would do good. But it's like, out of all the Spider-Man movies that they've done, I mean, now I loved Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, because I just think Willem Dafoe is, as much as people think he's hammy and he's corny and it's a Power Ranger, I like Willem Dafoe as a villain. He's just,
Oh yeah, he was great. I don't have any problem with him. I just didn't like the design of this costume in that movie.
The best one was Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was just fantastic.
Yeah, the second Spider-Man is definitely the best of the three. And but I thought the thing about Willem Dafoe is I cannot believe he hasn't been cast as the Joker ever. I can't believe that he looks like the fucking Joker from the comic books with no makeup. He could just paint his face white. Yeah. He's done. He's done.
Well, he's tall.
Dye his hair green and put some red lipstick on him and paint his face white, and he's done. You don't even need to.
He's tall, he's lanky, and he's got that look. Now I saw.
He's got the Joker face. He's got a Joker smile naturally.
I saw something today. I don't know if it's a joke or what, but somebody had put up an article that Tommy Wiseau is petitioning to be Joker in a movie. I would love that. Oh, hi, Batman.
Oh, Batman, you're so funny.
Oh, look, Batman, you invited all your Bat family. Good idea.
Tommy was so laugh.
I fall in vat of chemicals and I don't care anymore.
I'm fed up with this world.
I'm fed up with this Gotham. You're tearing me apart, Gordon. You're tearing me apart, Harley.
Batman.
Oh, hi, babe. I revved the Harley.
So sexily.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I make love to Harley belly button. It's great. I make this laughing gas for you, Batman. Oh man, that would be. Of course, I think we do need to say that there's one person we would like cast in all these movies. In fact, every movie ever made across the spectrum of all film and time and space.
Well, yeah, if you're talking about WARHAWK Tanzania.
I'm talking about WARHAWK Tanzania.
The baddest karate fighter of all time.
Chief, you got to get your head, mind, and your body. Can you dig?
Got to have both.
Got to have both, man.
I'm not joining your pig pen.
In my head, your story is fantastic, but in my heart, I know you speak the truth. So Chief gets a hold of me, and he's like, I have found the greatest movie of all time called Devil's Express on Prime, and we actually worked it out to where I now have Prime, and I was able to watch this film. And yes, it is like the greatest movie ever made. It's everything you could ever want in a movie.
Oh yeah. And we found out something interesting. Well, we should probably say that we recorded it once. We recorded the commentary.
Yep.
And it didn't turn out as good as we wanted because we had a tough time with the drift and the keeping the track straight.
Yeah.
So we're still working on it because it's a little bit different with Prime than it is with the YouTube or any of the other ways we do it.
Yeah.
But so we were going to re-record it, and we found out that there is another WARHAWK Tanzania movie that was out before that called Force 4, and the other title is Black Force. And it's 4 kung fu experts that are like a superhero team, like almost like the A-Team. and there's a stolen artifact, and they have to get it back. And there's just a shit ton of karate in it. But
And
we found out,
great songs.
yeah. Oh, the soundtrack is amazing, and that one song with the band that is the best band ever.
It was great.
But we found out that there is one character that connects it and makes it a single universe between Devil's Express and Force 4, and that is the character of Rodan, who is named after a Godzilla monster for some reason.
Yeah. Well, the actor's name is like the actor's last name is Roldan, Roldan. So his character name is Rodan, and it's funny because we were sitting there, and of course we see the actor, and we're just sitting there going, "Hey, it's Rodan," just making fun.
Hey, it's Rodan from Devil's Express, and we called him that. And we didn't know his name in the movie was Rodan until the end.
Yeah, in the credits it actually said his name was Rodan. So, and we found out that Rodan is Kenny from South Park because he dies 50 times in Force 4.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't have enough extras and actors to be their karate team, so they had to keep reusing guys. So guys they were killing were coming back to life. But Rodan was stabbed in the back. At the end they showed all the times he got his ass kicked. They showed pretty much all the clips of karate fighting. Rodan's getting his ass kicked and murdered, and then he comes back every scene. He's fighting again.
But these movies are they're on Amazon Prime if you want to go watch them before our commentary goes up, just so you get an idea of the movie before you hear us make fun of it.
Devil's Express deserved a better track than we did.
So
we couldn't put that out. Yeah, we could not put that out without the best possible commentary track.
That movie has everything, including Brother Theodore.
Brother Theodore out of fucking nowhere is in that movie, and he serves no purpose. He's just in the background screaming shit.
He's a priest, and he's a priest in the movie. And he's got his mop top hair, and he's just there is no deities. They're all dead. The rats got him. He's just screaming. It's fun. And if you watch him in scenes where he's standing there off to the side, he's got no lines. He's fiddling around. He's crossing himself, and things like that. He's fucking hilarious.
And it's got Brother Theodore. It's got kung fu. It's got zombies, disco music. It's got everything. Gold bell-bottom overalls. It's got
crushed velvet gold bell-bottom overalls. You got to make sure everybody knows these are crushed velvet.
Ancient Chinese demons, magic amulets.
Some really weird old man makeup.
It's like Big Trouble in Little China, but 100 times better.
Oh yeah, lots of kung fu fighting in there. A lot of gang wars. The cops trying to get Luke on his side. Take your hands off me.
Yeah, not joining your pig pen.
Bet they didn't know that sweet little waitress was a kung fu master.
They do now. That movie's great. Force 4 is fantastic. The only thing that it makes me sad that he didn't make more movies, or that particular group of people didn't make a whole bunch of movies, because man, there's only the two, and they are two of the best movies I've ever seen.
They were at the time, they were during the blaxploitation era, which everybody knows I love. If you listen to the show at any time at length and knows us, I love exploitation films, and those two films are amazing. I mean, it just the genres, the fact that it's blaxploitation, but then it's kung fu movies. It's got the zombies in it. It's got the horror in Devil's Express. I mean, it is just so great. You got a guy walking around with big white eyes painted on his eyelids. So the fact that there's a guy. First of all, his name is WARHAWK Tanzania.
Yeah, that's enough reason. When I didn't. First of all, I didn't really even realize what the guy's name was until I had gotten Spin to watch the movie, and then he wrote in Messenger WARHAWK Tanzania, and then it clicked with me who that was. After it took a minute for it to even register who that was. I was like, wait a minute, that's the guy in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, his name's WARHAWK Tanzania. That's pretty funny.
So great. So we got the Force 4 commentary down. That'll be coming up shortly. I did drop The Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin today as we're recording this, so that's up there on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch that later tonight.
As well as I put up some gameplay of Seven Deadly Sins: Knights of Britannia on the PS4. It's a brand new game, just came out the other week from Bandai Namco, based off the anime. And I love the anime. My son loves the anime, so we picked up that game and was playing it. So that's
That game looks cool, man. I was watching a little bit of your stream when you were live, and I was like, "What the hell game is this?" That's pretty awesome.
it's cool. It's like you got the fighting aspect, but then there's like a little bit of crafting to get better items, and then you can like do trials, and it's just you saw it. It's just fast paced, freaking beat the shit out of all your opponents' games.
Well, yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Kingdom Hearts, that's kind of the reason I like Kingdom Hearts, is it's got a lot of mix of everything, and you got a lot of fighting and stuff, but then you got to you can rebuild you can set your power levels and stuff.
Speaking of Kingdom Hearts, there's new news on Kingdom Hearts that came out this past couple weeks.
Wow.
So another world has been released, shown another world for Kingdom Hearts 3. So far we know that we're going to have worlds based off of Rapunzel, Entangled. You're going to get Toy Story. You're going to get San Fran, Tokyo from Big Hero 6.
Did they say what old ones are all the old worlds still going to be open, or did they cut some?
I know that Olympus Coliseum is still going to be in there, and I believe Nightmare Before Christmas may still be in there.
That was one of my favorite ones because you could interact with the gravestones and everything.
Yeah. So this one they have released, this new trailer they released. They have shown that you're going to be able to go to the Monsters, Inc. world, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy will take on the appearances of monsters.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
And looking at it now, in past,
it's taken. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
The time they're spending on it, it's going to be good when it comes. I'm going to get it immediately.
Well, in the past games, how there were, you go to different worlds, like you go to Pirates of the Caribbean, you can add Jack to your team, or you go to different, add Jack Skellington to your team, Mulan, things like that. This one is really interesting because it seems like you get, in a lot of the world, you don't get just one character to join you, you get two. So in the gameplay that they showed, in Rapunzel, you get both Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. You get both Woody and Buzz Lightyear, and it looks like you're getting Sully and Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc. The graphics look fantastic. I have been drooling over this game, and it looks.
Do they still have the summoning where you get extra character and you can still summon?
They've got
different characters to fight for you.
What they're showing what they've shown so far is that some of the powers you can do are based off of Disney rides. So the Teacups, Big Thunder Mountain, things like that will come into play. You can merge with your characters and change the Keyblade and the different weapons to use.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about the first two is you could manipulate your settings and power up your Keyblade to just ultimate power. So you could pick you got different ones throughout the game. And you can manipulate all the levels of everything and power up. I liked how the power up system worked in the first two.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this, and it looks like they also had some of the characters from Chain of Memories, which was the Game Boy Advance sequel to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, so I didn't play that, so it might be missing something for me. If you had to have played it, because I don't have one of those devices to play that, so I never played that.
I played it. It was really interesting. They've remastered it for PS4 with the Kingdom Hearts collections that they've been bringing out. They've remastered a lot of the old Game Boy and DS titles.
I wish they'd put them out on Xbox now, so when the new one comes out, they ought to put them out on a separate.
Yeah. I think, if I remember correctly, Kingdom Hearts 3 will be on Xbox, but all these collections are only on PlayStation. So.
Yeah. I've heard it's from everything I've read about it or heard about it, it's supposed to be on everything.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And then there's been more and more footage shown for God of War, which I'm super excited about because I'm a huge fan of the God of War series because the original series took place in ancient Rome and Greece. Or it took place in ancient Greece. This one, it's in the Norse mythology realm.
That would be cool. I dig that mythology.
In the trailer, if you watch the trailer, they show the world serpent, and all those, and basically the Norse gods don't like, they're not happy that Kratos is there because they know he's a god of war and what he did to the gods of Olympus. So, they think he's going to kill all of them too. So that one I've got that on pre-order. I've got Spider-Man on pre-order because I'm getting that motherfucker when it comes out, and I've got
That's still PS4 exclusive, right?
Yep.
That's fucking I can't. That's crazy.
Well, who owns the movie? Well, besides Marvel, remember the Sony owns the movie. Also has joint movie rights for Spider-Man. And what's PlayStation? It's a Sony console.
Oh yeah.
So
Sucks though.
and then I got pre-ordered. I've got Sword Art Online, Fatal Bullet, because I'm a huge fan of Sword Art Online, so I get all the games. And then just waiting on Call of Cthulhu to get a release date. There's no release date on that yet.
Yeah, that one looks cool too. At least the trailer, the preliminary, introduction of it or whatever that they put out.
The other thing,
Promo.
and I think it comes out this week, is Injustice 2. They are finally going to release the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Injustice 2.
Yeah, I saw something about that. They're gonna look like the old school movie ones. It looks like the old ones.
And the way it's going to be is the interface, when you pick the turtles, it'll pop up another interface where you can actually pick which turtle you want to be. So you can pick, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael. But I'm just excited for that. I don't get all the characters with Injustice. I kind of pick and choose which ones I want. Like I had to get Hellboy and I had to get Red Hood when they came out. Other ones, I'm kind of like, I'll wait a little bit, but Turtles, definitely, I got to get Turtles. And that I love it because Injustice, opens up the multiverse to more and more, characters that could be in these Injustice games. We've got Hellboy, we got the Turtles, we've got Mortal Kombat characters. It's like, who's next? Could Conan or Red Sonja end up in Injustice? Any of these comics that you see, because there's the Wonder Woman.
They're doing that crossover with Wonder Woman right now.
And the crossover Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's like, who else could they get to pull in there? Now, of course, everybody's still waiting for John Constantine to be a playable character. And I really hope they do that, because he would be a fan. I mean, they've had Zatanna before. Bring in John Constantine.
Exactly. Well, I think Constantine's slowly gaining foothold with people. I think it's a lot more popular. The character's a lot more popular now than it used to be.
Yeah. So the other thing, Justice League has been released on digital this past week. Chief and I got it. This was a movie we did not see in theaters. Yeah,
I waited, but I did not read any spoilers about it or know anything about it going in. I saw people on both sides of Twitter saying that they either loved it or hated it. It seemed to be a real polarizing movie. I personally loved it, and most of the people that I know, all around the world, really, people in the UK, people all over that I know on Twitter, that I know are just absorb comics and know a lot of comic knowledge. Mm-hmm. Most of those people were saying they loved it. I think that the people that didn't like it, my theory is that people that didn't really like it, either didn't know who Steppenwolf was or any of the Fourth World characters, or for whatever reason. But I fucking loved it, man. I thought it was just nearly perfect. I didn't have any problem with it at all. I thought it was great.
Well, let's break it down to it. We'll leave the characters to the end. Let's break it down a couple of the things that happened in this that were really cool. That as comic book fans, you see them and you're kind of like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. First and foremost, boom tubes. Shit ton of boom tubes, which are just fucking amazing to see a boom tube and how those worked in the movie. Well,
seeing Kirby Fourth World shit start to come into this is, like, New God shit is fucking cool.
Parademon, Steppenwolf.
Oh, yeah.
He mentions the New Gods multiple times.
He says for Darkseid at one point.
Yeah. When he said for Darkseid, I literally squeed. I was like, holy shit, he said for Darkseid, fucking A, man.
There was so many little cool things in it, that I don't know. I just thought it was great. Little details, just even the fact that Steppenwolf snarls Kryptonian at Superman. Like, he's had dealings with Kryptonians and he fucking hates Kryptonians.
Yeah.
So, like, just the way that, like, and I love that I thought that, CGI, whatever people think of what the character looked like, I thought that the voice acting was pretty awesome.
Syrian
and I liked
Hines as Steppenwolf, a fantastic actor, Syrian Hines.
And I thought it was great that he spoke in that just fucking hardcore apocalypse, like kind of gravelly, total dead serious. There was no stupid one-liners coming from him through the whole movie. He's just a serious bad dude.
Yeah, he had his purpose, he had his mission, and he was doing it. There was no quips. There was none of that stupid Lex Luthor, jokes about Jolly Ranchers or shit like that.
Well,
they showed him fighting Green Lanterns in a flashback.
Yeah, and there's that one character I still don't know who it is. It said the gods came to help in that scene, and it shows a dude shoot lightning out of his arm and blow the mother boxes apart. And I was wondering maybe if that was supposed to be Shazam, one of the Greek gods. I don't know who that character is supposed to be.
Yeah, I got to go back and look at that and see. The little things in this movie I absolutely love. Like, I loved basically military Alfred.
Yeah. Jeremy Irons is a good Alfred.
He's a great
one. And whatever people think of Ben Affleck, I think Ben Affleck's the best Batman that's ever been in a movie. I don't care what anybody thinks. He's the best Batman so far.
And what they did is they do a good job that they established this is not young Batman. This is a Batman who's been Batman for 20 years.
What I love about his voice is that when he's in the Batman suit, he's got a vocal harmonizer on that deepens his voice. And he's not just doing the gruff Christian Bale
Ricola voice.
Yeah, but it's like a deep, distorted voice, like he's using a harmonizer.
But I also love the fact that he's a Batman, that he's Batman. He doesn't care about the consequences. He does what needs to be done to get the job done, and to hell with the consequences.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were obviously a couple of like tweaks to people's backgrounds. Like Barry Allen, apparently they just say he was struck by lightning in this. So he's not even involved with the police crime lab until
they mention it a little bit when he's talking to Cyborg. He has a moment with Cyborg where they talk about they're the accidents.
Yeah, and all they say about it is he was struck by lightning.
Yeah,
and so you don't really get exactly how or why. But I mean, really, in the end, lightning hit him. The Speed Force came to find Barry Allen. That's kind of what. That's what I take from it. It's like
I love the Speed Force in this movie. Can I just say, much better than the fucking Flash TV show.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. I like that he generates the charge off of him.
Yeah, the electricity, which we know the Flash does that. We see it in the comics, we see it in the animated stuff. When he's running, he generates that electricity. And I also like the fact that he mentions that he burns so much calories he has to constantly eat because the how fast he goes in his metabolism.
Well, that's an ongoing thing with Barry Allen. Always had he's always had he's always had to eat a lot.
Yeah, but they don't really touch on that. I think in the TV show, he's always just kind of normal. This one, I love that he's first of all, he's funny as hell. That's jokes.
That's kind of a Flash trait too. He's kind of a wisecracking superhero, and he's kind of cocky when he's the Flash, and I thought that just his humor in it made a lot more sense than the mopey kind of teenagery.
I love Irish. I should be the one with Irish. And the fact
granted, the guy on TV looks more like Barry Allen from the comic books, but I mean, this guy has the personality down better.
And I like the fact that they, They show you him and his dad in prison, and they mention his, the backstory, which would play into, the Reverse Flash going back in time, killing his mom, setting that whole thing up. Cyborg was amazing in this fucking movie. He wasn't just a side character. He had a major role. He was very important to everything. If it wasn't for Cyborg, they could not have achieved the end game of getting the mother boxes what they needed to do.
Yeah, I like that he was taken really serious. Like he was really serious the whole time too. I like that there wasn't a whole lot of that. Like Superman kind of because a couple of those one-liners, which I love though, because I love Superman. It's like It's like Superman's like kind of comes in to clean up the problem. That's
Well, he's a big Boy Scout. That's what I like. Is they finally made him more like the big Boy Scout. I love it. He flies off to save civilians. He flies back and he's like, this guy's still bothering you, and he just punches Steppenwolf and then eye lasers him into the ground. It's like you guys haven't taken care of this guy yet. Come on.
Yeah, like, do I got to do everything around here?
Yeah.
Well, oh man, one of the coolest fucking things of the whole movie was when they resurrected Clark with the Kryptonian like birth matrix or whatever the hell that thing is.
And the mother box, yeah.
And so when they resurrect Clark, he flies out of the ship, the Kryptonian ship, and he goes to like his monument, and the rest of the they kind of come to contain him, the Justice League, and when they all go to stop him, they all run at him, and Superman's just got them all at arm's length and is just standing there like it doesn't like they can't move him. It's like Aquaman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the greatest part is Flash takes off and starts running, thinking he's going to be all badass and sneak up, and then Clark just looks right at him while he's in the Speed Force. Clark could see him, and just the look on Barry Allen's face of like shock and horror that Clark's looking right the fuck at him and he's going to get him. That's fucking priceless. That's a great moment.
And
also,
when
the
he
Flash Superman race. There's not only one, there's two.
Yeah.
Flash Superman races in this, which is fucking awesome.
Well, when he grabbed Batman, when he saw Batman, he's like, "I remember you," and he lifts him up and he's like, "Do you bleed?"
Yeah.
I mean, that was just amazing, and the fact that I like that it had to be Lois that calmed him down.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense that Lois would be the one to calm him down. And I like that there wasn't a lot of Lois in this, that she had a part and it wasn't a lot, but she was utilized, I think, well. Wonder Woman was fantastic. She was amazing.
I love that the Superman wasn't the mopey Superman not really so much a Man of Steel. I guess he kind of was a Man of Steel, and then Batman vs Superman he was more serious. I like that this one was more like, I believe in justice, Mister. It's kind of that like all American like old school Superman vibe.
When they're saving the civilians and Flash just pushes those civilians' car. And he's like, yeah, look what I did. And then you see Superman, like, flying with a whole, like, building full of civilians.
Giant apartment building on his back.
Flash is just like, God damn it, man.
Well, he calls it, when Superman flies up next to him when he's running, Superman flies up behind him and calls him Slowpoke. And when he gets close to him, and Flash is like, oh, it's on. And he runs and grabs the truck and starts pushing it. And that's when he sees Superman just flying over with a building on his back full of people.
J.K. Simmons as Gordon, fantastic Gordon.
Yeah.
An older, more established. He looks like Gordon. He looks like fucking Gordon.
Yeah, Momoa was a lot cooler as Aquaman than I thought he was going to be.
Really reminded me of the 90s Aquaman.
Yeah, it was definitely that vibe with him, like the kind of like rougher, like warrior Aquaman, not the like Super Friends Aquaman for sure.
Yeah. That was the only part that I kind of had a little bit of awkwardness with, was him and Mara's scene together in Atlantis. Now, the Atlantis was done fantastic. I thought
it's short, though. I mean,
it's short. It just, the dialogue was, the dialogue is what got. I mean, it's very minute in the whole scheme of the movie, but it was just that dialogue between Mara and Aquaman. It was kind of like, but the scene.
But it's also one of my favorite parts. Yeah, it's also one of my favorite parts when he comes there to fight Steppenwolf underwater, and it's just he grabs him like by the helmet and starts swinging him around. And they get in that big fight underwater. That's pretty cool. And I thought the way that the Atlanteans move underwater was way cool. I'm glad that they didn't make him do the Kevin Costner dolphin move through the water. I'm glad he just moves on his own power, almost like Superman flies underwater.
It's almost like they generate like a water current behind them.
Yeah, well, he can
them around.
They make it evident that he controls the water, which was a cool thing to stress with Aquaman, because he does that. Most people think he just talks to fish. It's like, no, he controls water as well.
And they make jokes of that. Batman's like, you talk to fish. You can't talk to fish, right? And he's just like, technically, I speak to the water talks to the fish, But Jason Momoa as Aquaman, he was badass. Him flying through the air, beating the shit out of parademons.
Oh, that was cool.
With the trident, and he doesn't want to die, Chief. He's young. He's got shit to do.
I don't know. When I saw some of the stuff like in the trailer when it was coming out. Like the only thing I really ever saw was the trailer. I made sure I didn't read any articles. I didn't watch any like spoiler videos on YouTube. But I would watch the trailer and I think, I don't know about the CGI in that. I don't know if it's just I hate those CGI backgrounds. But no, when the movie was complete and done and I watched it, it looks fucking great. The whole thing looks good.
Everything makes sense. Everybody's like, oh, there's another red sky, but it makes sense because Steppenwolf is basically terraforming.
Yeah, he's turning into another apocalypse, which is red.
Yeah, everything. If you really know your comic books and you really know these characters, it makes so much sense. I mean, they could have easily done first Justice League story and have him fight Starro, but which I don't know. I kind of want to see Starro on the big screen.
And like to make a movie that especially that, like I said, most of the people that I know. I don't know what everybody, like these guys that I know actually read a lot of comics. I know these guys personally. I've known them for years on social media, and I've argued with them. I fought with them, but and especially like Adrian Hunter, that guy, and Shane on Twitter. I've gotten arguments over comic books and movies with those guys a million times, and but I know that they just absorb comic book knowledge, and they both loved it. So I knew going in, that's the only thing I really knew is like these two guys that I know and generally trust about, comic books and know that they, know their shit. They're both saying that it's great. And so when I watched it and they're right. I think it's fucking fantastic.
Well, I think it's the same. I think it's what we always talk about. It's the fact that we, those of us who have absorbed so many comic books in our lives and just have followed these characters for so long, we're just excited that we get to see them on the big screen in live action, fighting. We had that discussion. Yeah. We had the discussion on Messenger. Yes, I like the Michael Keaton Batman. I liked him as Batman. I liked him as Bruce Wayne. But yes, to finally see Batman swinging from a zip line, flying in, doing flips, brooding on the side of a building, actually on the side of a building.
Yeah, he's scary. They made Batman creepy. It's the very opening scene when the cat burglar guy comes out on the roof and he's walking and he kind of looks and he kind of rubs his eyes and just kind of keeps looking because across the way on a building is just Batman just hanging there just fucking staring at him. Yeah. Really dark, creepy Batman, and it's that's fucking Batman. And then he does the backflip off that water tower, and it does the ninja moves. And it's man, that's what Batman's supposed to look like. And none of the other costumes could even move.
And that's the thing, like I said, with Keaton, I give it a pass because that costume was so rigid. It was so rigid. That's why every movement Keaton had to make was a full body movement when he. Yeah,
and every Batman even after him and every George Clooney, Val Kilmer, they all had to just go toe to toe with guys on the ground.
Yeah.
And they couldn't flip around and do all that shit because the suit was so stiff they couldn't move. They could do a 3-guy punch and it's almost as corny as Adam West choreography. Ben Affleck Batman does sweep kicks and flips over people and grabs them and flips them over his back and bounces off the ceiling.
And if you watch the movie, we caught this. Listen at the scene where the Batman drives the Batmobile out of the jet, and listen to the score that's playing. It's the fucking Michael Keaton 1989 Danny Elfman fucking Batman.
Yeah, it is. It goes da 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 when he starts to whenever there's a couple of scenes.
It's they integrated.
I think that happens. There's also the Alexander Salkind theme that from is that who wrote that? I can't remember who did the Superman theme. But the Superman theme from the Christopher Reeve. There's a moment
I caught that too.
Which part is it? It's the I think it's just the old Superman. It plays just a snippet of that when Superman scenes are up.
Yeah,
different times.
They did a really good job of integrating that into the orchestra music that they made for this film, and it's a little nod to fans. It's a little nod to fans. Now, it would have been great. I'll have to listen to it again. I think it would have been great if scenes with Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash. If we got a little bit of the Super Friends theme, that would have been cool. If we got just a little bit of the Super Friends.
Yeah, man, I don't know what people want. I'm not really. I watched that and thought this is virtually a perfect superhero film. It's like, you know how difficult it is to integrate all these stories over these past couple of movies and have it culminate in this, and have all these characters come together like this and it be this cool and satisfying as a comic reader myself and satisfying as a movie to watch. Like I've watched it twice already and I loved it both times. I loved it even more the second time. And it's like that's difficult to do, to put that, especially with what happened with Snyder's daughter during this, and then Whedon taking over part of it, and it being kind of a split movie in that way. I thought they pulled it together pretty damn good for all that going on. And I'm just wondering, what do these people want that don't like it? What more do you want? I mean, for one thing, it's a DC multiverse. This could have happened on any number of worlds, this whole storyline. This isn't necessarily your Earth Prime DC world of, it's not necessarily that. It could be any out of continuity Justice League story, and it works brilliantly as a Justice League story. So I don't know what people want. It's like, what more do you want from a movie than that?
Right. And the fact that, I mean, first of all, yes, it was freaking fantastic. I enjoyed it. There were, like I said, some of the dialogue. There were some dialogue cues that I was kind of like, yeah, But the fact that you had everything in there. You had Flash's father. You had Star Labs. You had everything. They did so much of taking characters that they have not established yet and making it so you really don't need a backstory on them. It's all in there and it's contained. And the fact, I'm sorry.
That's the beauty of what DC's universe is doing. They know that these characters have been around for 75 years. Yeah. I mean, we don't need to see Bruce Wayne's parents get shot again, really. I don't need to see, maybe flashback. If you're going to make an Aquaman movie, they're going to maybe flash back to some of his childhood, maybe, for a minute. Maybe. But that's, these characters, even the Marvel movies are starting, like with Spider-Man, like we were talking about earlier. They're starting to, like, we don't need to see the origin again. We've seen it. We've seen it on screen already, like, 10 years ago, so.
And can I say Joe Manganiello, or whatever, Joe Manganiello? Yeah. God damn, he does look like Slade Wilson.
He did.
God damn, it's uncanny.
I was like, I don't know about that. He seems, when I saw that they cast him, I was like, oh, he kind of resembles the dude that plays Deathstroke on the Flash TV series.
Right, the guy who played Crixus on Spartacus, yeah.
Yeah. But he kind of resembles that guy in his normal life. Like, he kind of, like the way he normally looks. But they got him with the white hair and the eye patch and the costume at the end, and it was like, oh man, that really looks like Deathstroke to me.
That, and I love it that it's Deathstroke. He like Luthor's there and Deathstroke is Deathstroke. He's like, don't waste my. If you're wasting my time, But
I think that the kid, what's that guy, Eisenberg? What's
Jesse Eisenberg, yeah.
Yeah, I think he does a pretty good job as Lex Luthor. I kind of like him now that he's bald and kind of looks the part.
He looks better bald, yeah, definitely better bald.
And the fact that he's the bald Lex Luthor and he seems just like a devious, genius, smart guy, and I think he works as Lex Luthor. I don't care. But the fact that they're going to introduce the Legion of Doom into this, if they keep going with, I don't know how, after all the stuff fallout with Ben Affleck and all this stuff going on, I don't know if we'll even get another Justice League movie. But man, I really want to see the Legion of Doom on screen for sure now.
And that's what I'm wondering is who's going to be in the Legion of Doom. Are they going to take like the Flash movie, the Aquaman movie, take the villains from there, put them into the Legion?
Joker, we've already got Jared Leto's Joker. I don't know if he's coming back for another Joker, but we'll get some Joker maybe.
Maybe we'll get Tommy Wiseau Joker. Oh, hi, Justice League.
Well, from what I understood back in the day when they did Super Friends and the Legion of Doom, what I understood was they weren't allowed to use the Joker, so they used like Toyman and Riddler instead because the rights to the Joker were tied up somewhere else. And I think years later, didn't they do on like Justice League Unlimited or something? Wasn't the Joker in the Legion of Doom at that point?
I think that one, and then he was like in Young Justice. The Joker was part of like the Legion of Doom or something like that. But maybe they may have Sodom and Grundy. The Lord says on Sodom and Grundy.
I'd like to see Solomon Grundy on screen. That'd be cool.
That'd be great. I want to maybe Vandal Savage.
I think we'll get him because that's one of those kind of weird characters that people will want to fan cast and stuff.
Yeah. Captain Cold.
Maybe. Yeah, I'd like to see a better Captain Cold. I don't really dig that guy that plays Captain Cold.
I don't like the fact that they made him more of a hero. You know, I understand in the comic books during Forever Evil he became more hero-ish.
Yeah, he's back to pretty evil nowadays in what's going on in Flash.
Scarecrow.
Yeah, Scarecrow, got Bizarro, maybe.
Oh, me Bizarro.
Brainiac.
See, that was one of the things I liked in the Bale movies. I did like how they did Scarecrow for the most part, that he wasn't, like a full Scarecrow outfit. He used like the mask as like his respirator, and he used psychology and things like that. I kind of liked that.
It would make sense at the beginning of his criminal career that he wouldn't just run around in full Scarecrow outfit. Yeah. Look kind of ridiculous. I mean, unless he has like a lair and stuff to like wear it around in.
Which honestly now, because remember, Suicide Squad is in the same universe, we could get Deathstroke versus Deadshot.
Yeah.
Because those two are always, who's the better assassin, Deathstroke or Deadshot?
Deathstroke by far.
Yeah.
Deathstroke would kick the shit out of Deadshot.
Yeah. But I would love to see, especially now the thing with Batman already being established for 20 years. That would mean, Grace, if they're going to do Dick Grayson, he's already Nightwing by this point. Barbara Gordon is probably either already Oracle or...
Yeah, he might even be up to Tim Drake Robin somewhere.
They could bring in... Honestly, I would love to see Damian on the big screen.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, obviously it must be in like a separate universe than the comic book DC universe, because he doesn't have a son at this point in his life. He would have already had Damian already,
or that we know of. That we know of. I would love to see it if the full Batman movie is like Son of the Bat. That'd be awesome. But we know that with this movie they established the Green Lantern Corps. We know the Lanterns are out there, which means we could get the Martian Manhunter at some point.
Oh yeah. Well, with establishing Apocalypse and a wider universe, you also get Thanagarians and Hawkman and.
I want Granny Goodness. I want fucking Granny fucking Goodness. But there's just so much that could be done. So I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward this week. Thor Ragnarok is on digital. I didn't get to see that in theater, so I'm finally going to get to see Thor Ragnarok. You're gonna get your Hulk versus Fenris Wolf and versus Surtur.
Yeah, and a little bit of Planet Hulk in there, from what I can tell. There's some characters from Planet Hulk in it, I think.
Yeah.
But that's another one. I've tried to avoid every possible thing I could. I didn't watch videos. Didn't read anything about it.
The most that we talked about was the things that we saw in the trailers, and then the Man-Thing, Beta Ray Bill, in the Grandmaster's Tower.
Yeah, is that the only? Have you heard it? I kind of don't want to know. I don't even want to ask, but I was gonna. If there's been any any other references to those characters in the movie, or if that's just the only
thing that I know of. Only thing that I know of.
Well, we know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. established the Man-Thing too, so we know the Man-Thing is going to serve it's got to serve some purpose at some point. Why are they bringing him up in two different mediums?
Yeah, especially with things like the Reality Stone coming into play and everything like that. You would think Man-Thing would have. That's the thing. Marvel. I want to know why Marvel is not. I mean, they brought in Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even though it was the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider.
But they did talk about Johnny Blaze, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They mentioned Johnny Blaze. So he is established to exist.
Yeah. I mean, Howard exists. We know the Man-Thing exists. We know the Ghost Riders exist. Doctor Strange has alluded to things. Why? I'm wondering why Marvel is not doing more on the supernatural side of the house when it comes to the characters. They're doing all the cosmic. They're doing all the fight. The standalone like military characters.
Yeah, it's weird that they're doing that like in the backgrounds of all these movies, little things like that. So it makes me wonder if that's hinting at something to come, or because there's been all this talk about for like the next 18 years they've got the MCU planned out.
Yeah.
And so maybe all that shit is coming down the pipe.
I mean, they fizzled out with Inhumans. They fucked up Inhumans royally.
Well, like you said, we need a Howling Commandos movie or like a Howling Commandos Netflix series or something.
Am I talking? Are we talking the supernatural Howling
Yeah, we're
Commandos
talking.
or
Yeah,
Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos?
the supernatural one because they're talking about all these characters
Yeah.
already, and then you could already do that implied backstory like they do on a lot of other characters and
Yeah.
just have them all together.
And you've already established Dum Dum Dugan in the MCU, and
And
we
if
know that.
you, well, yeah, and if you also, if you just put them in there, you can do in a series like on Netflix. You could go back to each individual character and tell a little bit about the backstory as the series goes on. So you could have them all together and then kind of do origin episodes for each of the characters.
Yeah.
You got 13 episodes. You got to fill it with something. 13 episode
Well,
series.
the fact that they have hinted also at life model decoys, and we could actually, like I said, they've established Dum Dum Dugan. They could have a Dum Dum Dugan life model decoy heading up the Howling Commandos with, Werewolf by Night or Warwolf or whoever you want to put in there. There's just so many of those characters that they could do. There's so many. I love that they now got Hela and Fenris and Surtur and all of that in the movies.
It's a weird uncertainty with what's going on with Sony and Fox and Marvel and all, and well, especially the Fox, the X-Men and Fantastic Four properties, because it's like if they really do work that out, like are they planning on just integrating those into current, or are they just going to reboot the whole thing with all these new teams?
I don't know.
I would kind of like to see a total reboot, just a total reboot it with all of them. Keep some of the actors, like I would love to see Tom Holland continue as Spider-Man, even grow into it as like an older Peter Parker. And but I mean, recast whoever they need to recast and reboot it with the X-Men and Fantastic Four.
I just like I'm excited to see Ragnarok this week. The only thing is, when I first heard Ragnarok was going to be made a couple years ago, I thought it was going to be with the Mangog. I thought Mangog was going to be like the main, because usually Mangog is the sign of Ragnarok. Mangog shows up and he's like the sign of Ragnarok.
Well, I know it's all about Hela and stuff, but I'm not. Well, yeah, we know Surtur's in it, so Surtur's kind of the original kind of big bad.
Well, Surtur's, Fenris Wolf's in it. It
well,
seems like most of the Guardians get their ass.
Hemsworth has said he's down to play Thor forever, pretty much. So there could be any multiple number of Thor movies that cover Mangog.
Well, I would. Here's the thing: with characters like Captain America, if Chris Evans says I'm done, go ahead, give it to Falcon for a few movies, and go from there. Make it just like the comics. Make it the natural evolution. Don't just stick somebody else in there. Thor, I'm not sure if they could do the Jane Foster Thor in the movie universe right now. I mean, if Hemsworth's down to play Thor forever, let him fuck the Avengers. Let him do God Bomb or something like that.
I would like to. Man, I'd like to see God Bomb.
Give me God Bomb. Give me Beta Ray Bill. Give me Throg. I would just even love a nod to Throg.
I'd watch it. You know what? Rather than I'll tell you a female-led movie I want to see is do the Sif run from Journey into Mystery.
That would be good. I also wouldn't mind. I honestly would not mind a Spider-Gwen movie because it would be an alternate universe movie.
Do you watch the Disney Spider-Man cartoon? She's on there, I think.
I have not watched the new one because, like I said, I don't have cable. And the artwork on that one, I'm not like I dug Ultimate Spider-Man, but this new one, the artwork just seems really weird to me.
I didn't really notice it being that much different, really.
But
I don't really watch it regularly. I catch it once in a while. It's usually on in my living room because I leave the TV on for the dogs.
Well,
so.
I loved what was it? Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That series I loved, but then they canceled that to bring like that another Avengers show.
It's that show is. I think that show is actually not that bad. It's in continuity with the one before it. It's actually the continuation of that story.
I just really loved Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I really enjoyed that.
They were doing a lot of cool stuff, like the Skrulls, and when they did like the Skrull invasion, and that stuff was cool.
And I love that Captain Marvel had her old costume. It was her original red and black costume with the with the black mask on. I really enjoyed that. I love how they introduced all the characters. I love how when they opened it, it wasn't like they introduced all the characters the way I would want them introduced in like a series. Like Captain America didn't come into like episode 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like in the comic books, he wasn't in the original. You know, he came in a few issues into the Avengers books. That's what I loved. But I'm excited to see. You saw that you showed me they're making a Spider-Ham action figure.
Yeah, just I was gonna say they got the toy fair. The toy fair was this week, I think, or this last week, or over the weekend or something. And let's see, when was it? It was updated February 19th. This is the 115th annual North American International Toy Fair. It was a 4-day event. Is it over now, or is it still going on? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, they put out some pretty cool shit. I sent you that other picture, that Jabba the Hutt sail barge.
Yeah.
That Hasbro's putting it out, but they're doing it like a Kickstarter, and they say if they get 5,000 people to sign up for it, then they'll make it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pretty limited run, but it's like 3 or 4 feet tall, or 3 or 4 feet long, or something, and a couple of feet tall.
So not USS Flag length, but still pretty big.
No, I guess it's the biggest Star Wars toy of that line that they've ever made, of the 3 3/4 inch or whatever figures. I think the Black Series has got some big shit. I think the Millennium Falcon for the Black Series is huge, and I think it might edge that out. I don't know if they're talking overall if it's the biggest one that Hasbro's ever built, or if they just mean for that the smaller figure series. But I thought the Millennium Falcon was bigger than that, but.
Give me the full-size Death Star playset.
You know what? I don't know if the Black Series might even have that, man. I don't even know.
It would be like take up like half my living room because it's so big.
It's like an asteroid.
Yeah, it's like a small asteroid in my house. I just gotta open it, and I open it up so I can like play in it.
And it's that big that the ships are real tiny, like they are like the regular size Millennium Falcon actually fits in a docking bay. And
that, or you got to get like the old micro machines, like Millennium Falcon, to go into the Death Star or something like that, something like that. But then it wouldn't be the scale with the action figures. So yeah, you would have to make it big enough so the Millennium Falcon could dock in there and TIE figers.
It'd be as big as a house. It'd be like something you put in your backyard.
Make it convertible so I could have like New Hope Death Star, but then I could take a couple pieces out and I could have Return of the Jedi Death Star.
Yeah, you could take it apart.
Yeah, give me Return of the Jedi Death Star, and I want it to be able so I could fly the Millennium Falcon like into the Death Star so Lando can blow up the Death Star.
Yeah, and I want like a port cover to cover that port that Luke blew it up the first time. Because they fixed that by the time they got to the second one.
They just put cardboard over it. They put some plywood over it.
Just put a piece of duct tape over it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining us this week. This will be the end of the main show. Of course, as you know, afterwards we go into our comic reviews for the week. But if you don't want any of your books spoiled, we want to tell you everything that's going on right now. Once again, YouTube.com. We just put up the Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin. We're going to have Force 4 coming at you soon. And when we finally get it working, we're going to bring you Devil's Express with WARHAWK Tanzania.
Yeah, we are going to work that out on the weekend when Spin has a lot of free time because he's going to do an overnight somewhere and he's going to be bored.
Yeah. So
we're gonna work that shit out, and then coming in the future, once we get that worked out, future special guest is coming to do a commentary with us.
Yeah. Make sure, once again, Stardust. I haven't put anything new up on Stardust in about a week or two. I have been finally recuperating my knee and my leg to where I'm able to walk better than I was last week. I'm still heavily braced, but I'll be starting to do, and I haven't really watched a lot of stuff, but I'm going to be watching more stuff. I'm going to put some more stuff up on Stardust. Make sure if you go to Stardust and you follow us first. That way we get that credit, and we will love you for it. Twitter.
Give us stuff.
Give us stuff. We're still planning our C2E2 trip. We'll keep bringing you details on all the ins and outs of C2E2.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it like crazy. I need a vacation. I got to get out of this crazy house.
So do I. So we're going to be working on that. Make sure you can follow Chief of Space, Chief75. I'm at Nerd Rage Renegades on the Twitter. And, of course, I want to thank everybody who did the poll. I put a poll up this past week of what 80s cartoon did you miss the most and you would love to see come back, not counting reboots and remakes. I want to thank everybody who took part.
Was G.I. Joe in there? I think I picked G.I. Joe.
The winners was G.I. Joe and Transformers. No, it was Thundercats and Transformers.
Thundercats was leading when I voted.
Yeah, it was a tie between Thundercats and the original Transformers. The other two were, of course, G.I. Joe and He-Man and She-Ra.
I voted G.I. Joe, by the way, in case you wanted to know.
So thank you to everybody who took part in that. I'm going to be throwing up little fun stuff like that just to kind of pick your brains, get people involved, because it's sad that social media, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not, I didn't Vine or something like that. I want to get more involved. I want you guys to get more, I want to be more interactive with you all on social media a little bit, just fun little things, show you guys some stuff. So make sure if you're following us on Twitter, hey, shoot us a like, hit us up with those retweets if you want. We thank everybody for all of those when you do those. Of course, Facebook.com/NR Truth Radio is on Facebook. The show goes up there all the time. And got to get a little bit more into that, but we thank you all for following us there. And also, thank you to all of our new followers on Podbean. We have hit over 1,000 followers on Podbean, so everybody who follows us on Podbean, thank you so much for listening to us. We hope you enjoy the show.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Crystal is going to tell you where we are every single week across all platforms.
The Nerd Rage Renegades are on the air every Wednesday on Podbean, Stitcher, Player FM, iTunes, Google Play, and every Thursday on GamingRebellion.com, Filling the Void Podcast Network, and now iHeartRadio.
So, with that, we're now going to hit a spoiler alert because we got a lot of DC Comics to talk about this week.
A lot. I read a bunch of them. I even read some while we were off, so a little bit ago.
So let's hit that spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. The Renegades are about to spoil this week's DC Comics.
All right, let's talk some DC Comics. There's a lot. My phone has 2% battery power, so we'll see what I can do here. This week, huge week. I guess let's start off. Let's talk about Batman.
Yes. This is Tom King's first Poison Ivy story, I think, so far since he took over.
Yeah, Batman number 41. Bringing back Poison Ivy. Now I'm waiting to see, because you know that on social media there are those Poison Ivy as a hero people.
Yeah. This is not that for sure.
But there are those people on social media. They only want to see Ivy as a hero. I saw something. It was like somebody said Poison Ivy, and they were like, "Don't call her that. Call her Pamela because she's a hero," or something like that. No,
that's her name.
Yeah,
that's her villain name. Why wouldn't I call her that?
Yeah, this is Poison Ivy, and it was a really interesting issue because it was basically just it was all Ivy narration over everything that's going on.
It's a real almost like Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of vibe to the story. And one thing at the beginning, Bruce Wayne gets up in the middle of the night, and he goes down to the cave, and on his way he just tags out Alfred. Now, was that Alfred already taken over by Poison Ivy coming at him, and he had to go get he had to jack him up on the antidote stuff before he got taken over? Was that what was going on? Because then Catwoman comes in and tries to attack him in the cave. It's kind of weird. Let me get to that. I've got it open here. Hold on. Let me open it.
Yeah, I'm opening it up right now. That way I can have it open it up on my laptop. That way I can have it open. But really, this whole issue, Ivy's taken over everybody. She has literally taken over everybody.
Yeah, the League, the Superman, everybody. It must be some airborne thing that she's got going. See, I was the way I understood it was somehow Batman sensed something was going on, and he knew he was working on that. He knew what she was doing, and it was working on that cure or whatever, the thing to prevent him from being taken over. Yeah. And then he shot himself up with it, and then he shot Catwoman up with it down in the cave, and then they both passed out in the cave. And then they woke up, and Alfred is there or something. Let me see what. Yeah, Bruce Wayne's sweating, and he gets up and he runs. and he collapses, and Alfred goes to help him, and he like punches Alfred out.
Yeah. I I'm really interested in this because she talks about how she's so in tune with the green and that she controls the green.
Yeah,
And
I was thinking Swamp Thing should come into that and show who controls the green.
that's what I was thinking is will Swamp Thing play a part in this? Because yes, she has an affinity for the green, but Swamp Thing is the protector of the green.
He is the living
he is
green.
the green.
So I mean, yeah, that'd be interesting. I almost think that Swamp Thing is going to be the cure. Swamp Thing is going to be the way they get the League back without killing Poison Ivy.
Yeah, and I mean she's taken over everybody but Bruce, so it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes. This is a setup issue.
Well, she didn't get Selena either. They're both inoculated, but everyone 7.6 billion people she controls, and even Cyborg in the Watchtower.
Well, she does get Selena because Selena's down there in the cave, but then it looks like she goes to attack Bruce and he knocks her out and inoculates himself and her. But he's got everybody. I mean, she's got Superman.
At the end though, she says she says I've got everyone, and Selena says you don't got me. And Bruce says or me, and she says no, I don't have you, but I've got 7.6 billion. And I've even got Cyborg in the Watchtower or something to that effect.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see how, like I said, this is a setup issue. You can tell in this who is taken over by Ivy because the dialogue is green text, and you know that she's speaking through these people. So there's even a part where Alfred is taken over. Bruce is going to knock out Alfred, and Flash shows up and he punches Flash in the face.
Yeah, there's going to be there's going to be something to do with Swamp Thing, and I'm just trying to figure out how he's going to figure into it. But I think it's going to be really cool. This is just another. Tom King has just been knocking him out of the park, man. Like ever since he took over the title, and I love Scott Snyder's Batman. I always say it, but Tom King I think is every bit as good. It's been one of the smoothest transitions of. Like from one writing and art team taking over a book that I've ever seen happen. Usually there's, like I said, there's always like that jarring change in the artwork and the story, but this has been like a smooth, like, it's different. It's unique. It's its own thing, but I don't know. It's great. Everything. I love it. Tom King's doing a fantastic job.
He is doing a great job. So Everybody Loves Ivy Part 1. Tom King, of course, the script. Mikkel Janin as the art and the colors. Really, June Chung with our art and cover. June Chung with colors. Fantastic. Fantastic book. And I love it. It says, I love it. At the end of this, you notice it says Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger.
Yeah.
Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family.
Yeah, it seems like in Justice League, Kirby got a credit for his Fourth World characters and stuff, and so I thought some of these guys are starting to get their due, even so after Death, So that's kind of cool. I don't know if that's what the family wants or whatever, but it's a little bit of DC and Marvel making amends to a degree, and like Kirby getting his credit in Spider-Man too, or not in what did Kirby get? A Marvel movie that Kirby got a credit in wasn't.
He got one in Captain America.
Okay. They're finally giving Jack Kirby credit in things that he wouldn't necessarily have gotten credit for, and in Marvel they kind of mistreated Jack Kirby. I think all the comic companies kind of mistreated Jack Kirby. He deserved a lot more for his amount of work that he put in. But it's nice to see him getting some credit now, and some of the other guys like that getting credits in books for things they created.
Yeah. Next up, Aquaman, number 33 this week. Of course, Dan Abnett writing that, with Riccardo Federici as the artist. Here's what I'm loving about Aquaman as of late is that it all takes place basically in Atlantis. It's all about what's going on in Atlantis, power struggle in Atlantis. I've loved this last arc because it has shown the slums of Atlantis. It has shown the different classes that are in Atlantis.
Well, he's kind of exiled to the lower slums of Atlantis, right? He's kind of he's been dethroned. Mara's in charge, and she also represents Atlantis on the Justice League now.
Mara's not in charge yet. So the story up to now is, Arthur's been thought dead, and he's been in the slums acting as like this protector, and everybody thinks it's more like a ghost, and they just call him the Aquaman. Mara was on the surface world, and she broke through the Crown of Thorns, which was this magical barrier that the new King Wrath, put over Atlantis, and she broke through it. I'm
looking at it right now, and the artwork is fucking killer, man.
It's amazing.
Riccardo Federici, man, this dude is badass. And the colorist, Sunny Go. Man, the colors and it just looks great.
It's amazing. The shadowing, the shading, the lines, everything works good. So Mara she made it through the Crown of Thorns, but because of the magic, she's unable to breathe water, so she's dying. But it has been said by the Sisters of the Silent School that Arthur's not going to be king. Mara will be queen. So Arthur is leading a small rebellion. It's him, Dolphin, the head Beastmaster for Atlantis, who controls all the dangerous beasts. They're leading a rebellion to take down the Crown of Thorns, because Arthur, he needs to get Mara back to the surface because she needs to breathe air for a little bit for the magics to kind of work their way out of her so she can get back to normal. And Dolphin is amazing. She's a badass character. She's a mute from the slums, and she's one of the mutants from the slums. But she is just a badass fighter, and she's kind of attached herself to Arthur, to Aquaman. And there's a little bit of jealousy between her because, she's kind of gotten a thing for him. But of course, he's all about Mara.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and get this when get the trade of this, because this artwork and this looks pretty badass. I've been missing this book.
This whole story, Abnett has created a story that is just fantastic. I mean, there's power struggle, there's politics, everything in there, and this also shows some kind of that Arthur's everybody, the ruling classes of Atlantis hated Aquaman as king because they felt he did not serve the best interest of Atlantis. He was too much of the surface world. But this is actually showing how much he does have in tune with his people, with all people, because he actually convinces King Shark and his gang to join him in the rebellion to take down the corrupt new king. And King Shark shows up and is basically like, he goes, if you're fool enough to stand against King Wrath and mount this raid anyway, maybe the gangs of the Ninth should stand with you after all. So because of Arthur's willingness to take on a king by himself, all the gangs are like, he actually does kind of care what happens to Atlantis. Fantastic story. It's not done yet. I mean, this has been a long story arc. This has been going on since like
this arc just started with Abnett when they were doing that preview at the end of the other books, right? When it showed him like down in the ghetto of Atlantis, like living with like all the lower class people or whatever.
Yeah, Abnett took over pretty much after they thought he was dead, they killed him type of thing. And Abnett took over, and Abnett he's so good at what he does. I mean, he is just a fantastic writer.
Yeah, it looks cool, man. The cover art on this one doesn't do what's inside the book justice, I don't think. Like
it kind of plays more towards like the last couple panels of the issue.
Yeah, this artwork is just fucking killer, though. I'm gonna go back and pick this up.
It's a great arc. I mean, Aquaman since New 52 has been stellar in my opinion. There was a few misses towards the end of the New 52 run, but since Rebirth, it's been just fantastic. It has really been fantastic. So, highly recommend Aquaman number 33.
Yeah. Well, the next one that I read was Superman, of course, 41. Um, the last days arc. Robinson, Benes, Ribeiro, the creators on this one. But this is a continuation from last time they went to. It was the anniversary of Krypton's explosion, and Clark and Jonathan Kent were at the Fortress of Solitude, and Clark had created this holographic image of the moment Krypton explodes, and he wanted to show it to Jonathan Kent on the
right.
anniversary.
And then they went to that other planet that was about to explode like Krypton.
Yeah, and right then they got an alert that there was another planet that was going to explode in a similar fashion that Krypton did. And they go there, and it's like a water planet with these like fish people, and they're all like religious zealots, and they plan on just going down with the planet because they claim that's what their god wanted to do. But Superman finds out there's one scientist on the planet that wants to be like Jor-El. That's kind of like Jor-El. He's got a matrix of like the eggs of the future of their civilization that he wants to send off to a different planet where they'll grow it. He's going to escape in a rocket to do that. Well, it all turns out that they bust in and they kill this scientist because they were against Clark trying to help him. They were going to try to depower Clark and make him die with the planet and all this stuff. And so he runs, obviously, and Jonathan Kent runs, and they go with this scientist to his lab. And the religious people find them and bust in, and they kill the scientist. And then so he tells Jonathan Kent, take the eggs of this civilization and get the hell out of here. And go find an asteroid or something, I'll find you. And then, so Clark stands there, and then they come to this conclusion that, maybe we know you had good intentions, and that, like, they see they've killed one of their own, and they kind of pause, like, maybe we shouldn't have fucking taken this far.
Uh-huh.
And so they tell Clark, well, we're not going to depower you. You're free to go. You don't have to stay here and be destroyed with our planet, but we're going to go down with our planet because this is our beliefs and our religion. And Clark kind of puts it to him that, well, maybe if your God is real, maybe he's the reason that I'm here. Maybe I'm supposed to be here to save all you people. And it's kind of like, well, you're too late. You can't do it. There's so many people on this planet, and the Clark has no way to get them off. And the only thing he can do is get the eggs of their civilization or their new their future, get it off the planet and put it somewhere else. So they agree to let Clark go do that. And it's kind of this moment where Clark has to like explain God to his son for the first time, and whether or not he believes in a God and why would a God do this and all this kind of thing. So it's kind of that moment with Clark. I really like this Superman. I'm kind of bummed that Bendis is going to take over because this has been like really this since Rebirth started. This Rebirth Superman with Clark Kent with a son and teaching his son to be the next Superman has been really awesome. And I don't want Bendis to come in and fuck it up. I really don't, because it's been really good.
Nightwing was another one I got. Nightwing number 39. Humphreys and Jimenez working on this one. Humphreys writing, Jimenez doing the artwork. This is another continuation of the Judge story arc. This one is it's kind of a backstory issue. Apparently, this character known as the Judge that Nightwing's been trying to track down in Bloodhaven, he's come across him twice before. Once when he was Robin, and then once
Nightwing does a lot of that, doesn't it? Like I've noticed a couple of times they like jump back and tell stories from other, like they'll jump back to different things.
Yeah.
That book, it's all kind of all over the place. I like it, but it's kind of all over the place.
This one, the artwork is so good in this one. And the artwork in this really kind of there's different art. Like there's two different styles of artwork. You have the modern Nightwing artwork, but then when it's doing the like the back story, like the flashback story, it almost feels like an old like Teen Titans book art or what, like an old 80s style. Yeah, it's definitely a lot different than the regular art for this book. Yeah,
I normally read this. I'm a few issues behind on this. I normally read Nightwing, so yeah, this is clearly a different.
Yeah, and this is definitely so he realizes that he's come across this character before, once as Robin, but also once like literally right after he becomes Nightwing, because the Nightwing costume shown in the flashback is the first Nightwing costume. You're right. That does look 70s lapel.
That looks a little like 80s, almost like a George Perez style kind of. little more like detailed and like a little different, but kind of that '80s kind of style of art.
Yeah, so we get a backstory on the judge and exactly who the judge is, how he came to be, and why he's not always there, why he shows up, at different times, and why Nightwing Grayson has only fought him those couple of times. They explain that. So it's a backstory issue, given a little more backstory. There's a panel in this on page 12 that I really enjoy, and it's him talking to Starfire, and I just the way they drew Starfire in this panel, I don't know what it is, but I absolutely love it. I just absolutely love it. So when you get this book, when you get this book and you see the art that I'm talking about on page 12, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I'm loading it up here. It's my computer's taking a long time to load up for some reason.
But Nightwing, to me, Nightwing is one of those steady Bat books I do enjoy. There's, he's always got something going on. There's always something going on with Dick Grayson, whereas things like Batgirl or some of those other books that I'm behind on, I'm behind for a reason. It's because sometimes there's like lulls. But Nightwing, he's always got something going on, whether it's with Sean Sang, whether Damian comes into town, whether he's dealing with Blockbuster. Now the judge, it's like he doesn't get a moment to like breathe.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that looks a lot like '80s Teen Titans Starfire. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I usually enjoy this book. I'm keeping up with Dick Grayson because he's been popping up in other stuff. Like I think he popped up recently in what was it, Titans? At the end, was it Titans with Roy Harper? Yeah. He was just recently in that, so you get a little bit of Dick Grayson around the other books, like in Titans or Teen Titans or Batman. He pops up here and there.
And let me just say, Sam Humphries was the writer. Phil Jimenez did the background pencils for this. Jamal Campbell did the present artwork for it. So when they're in the present, that's Jamal Campbell. When you're in the flashback, that's Phil Jimenez. Matt Santorelli did the inks for the flashback. Alex Sinclair did the colors, and Jamal Campbell also did the colors for the present. So fantastic work on Nightwing number 39, guys. I'm interested to see how this Judge arc is going to go, because they've mentioned that Nightwing's let this villain escape twice. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen this time.
One of the things what's going on with Batman and the whole Bat family through Detective Comics, through the main Batman title, and through like Nightwing, is how close all the Bat family is right now. Like they're not splintered like they have been in the past, where where Jason's off. I get Jason's off doing his own thing, but like he's still loyal to Bruce. If Bruce calls for the Red Hood to come in, he comes. And he even curbs his gun activity when he's around Bruce. So when he's working with Bruce, he won't use guns, and Bruce allows him to work his own way when he's not with him. So I like how tight they all are. I like that in the last few times they've all been together, Jason Todd's been with them. Like Jason Todd comes home.
Yeah.
When Bruce puts out the call to the boys, all the boys come home.
Yeah.
Always. And I like that about it. And I like that Tim Drake is back now. And the Bat family's been tight like the last few years.
I mean, the only odd ones out, of course, are Batgirl and Batwoman. Of course, with what happened with Detective last week with Batwoman.
Yeah.
And then Batgirl being on her own for a while, she's been kind of out of the loop for quite a bit.
Yeah, I think Dick's called her a couple times. Like Dick's called Barbara on the phone a couple times, but you don't see her too much.
No. Sticking with the Bat family, this week we get a #1 issue: Batman and Wonder Woman, the Brave and the Bold. Batman and Wonder Woman. This issue
I did not.
Amazing.
I didn't read that. I should read that.
You didn't read it? Okay.
No, I didn't. I read the Batman Sins of the Father. I read the other. I didn't read that one.
All right, so the Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman. This is #1 of a 6-issue miniseries. The cover says to solve a murder across two worlds, and it definitely is. Liam Sharp, writer and artist on this. Romulo Fajardo Jr. as colors. This story, it's Batman and Wonder Woman story. Of course, we don't know Batman's full role in it yet. We have more Wonder Woman in this issue than Batman.
That's two Batman Wonder Woman stories in the span of a month. We had the Tom King Batman story where they were in the other dimension, and now we've got this.
But this story takes place mostly in Tir na Nog, Chief. Tir na Nog. Does that ring a bell? Tir na Nog. It is the land. No. It is the land. It is the world of the fairy folk.
Oh.
So Lord Cenarius, I believe his name is. I'm gonna look through here. I want to get that right. But there's been civil unrest in the fairy world. Cernunnos. Cernunnos is the character's name. There's been fighting. There's been war, and I
imagine it's entertaining since Batman refuses to acknowledge magic.
Well, that's why. So the stuff in Tir na Nog at first it intertwines with Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman in a remote village in Antarctica. They went.
Artwork is pretty badass, man.
They went to Antarctica to get away to have a little a loon time. And they are actually they're interrupted by the Lord. And when he shows up, I love it because when he shows up, he looks really demonic. And of course, the first thing Steve Trevor does is grab his gun. But when he says his name, I'm Lord Cernunnos. Wonder Woman immediately is like, my lord, because she knows all about gods, and he's a god.
Yeah.
And he was the god of fertility.
Wow, these are some amazing splash pages throughout the first few. The first 3 pages are just fucking detailed as hell.
So there's a really good part in this. Steve Trevor pulls the gun, and he's like, did this guy just say he was the god of fertility? And Wonder Woman goes, please forgive the human male, my lord, and be most assuredly welcome here. And the Cernunnos goes, there's nothing to forgive, my lady. Please continue your lover's tryst. The rutting of the beast with 2 backs was long my domain, and I would gladly anoint such a union. So he's like, go ahead, fuck. Go ahead and fuck. It's all good. I'll
just stand here and wait.
Yeah. But he enlists Wonder Woman's help. Meanwhile, there's been stuff going on. Batman is noticing some weird things going on in Gotham. So, and there's there's it's all intertwined with the fairy folk and things of that. The artwork is astounding. The artwork is amazing. This looks like something you would see more and I'm going back a lot here. This is artwork you probably would have seen in an 80s artwork you saw in from Alan Moore or something like that. That's the kind of artwork
it's pretty damn good. I like it. It's cool. It's got a cool style to it.
But Wonder Woman's got to go. She goes to Tir na Nog. There's a lot of Celtic references in this story. There's Batman will play a factor in this. The artwork is just amazing. I can't get over the artwork, the colors, the way the fairy folk realm is drawn. The way Wonder Woman is drawn, she's drawn regal but powerful. And she really does, this artwork to me really shows Wonder Woman in that kind of mythological way. The way that we know, that because she is mythological.
It almost looks like indie comic art in a way. Almost like the old 80s indie, a bit really highly detailed, can't remember, it's escaping me the name, the book that it reminds me most of. But an indie book about this old guy, the old dude here with the staff, kind of reminds me of the book that I can't remember the title of.
It's so interesting because there are demons and there's fairy folk. I mean, they show this goblin character and his nose is all warty and just highly detailed. Something you would see in the Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's some beautiful artwork throughout the book. DC's fucking Where Marvel has disappointed me with artwork the last few years, DC is just fucking nailing these books.
Yeah, so this one, for me, this is my pick of the week, is The Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman #1.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get this one too.
It's gorgeous. Nice. The artwork is amazing. The way Batman is drawn looks amazing.
Yeah, he's badass looking Batman. It all looks good. The whole thing. I just went through it myself, just looking at it while we were talking about it. Yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna get it.
So definitely this one is my pick of the week. When you go to the store and you see the Brave and the Bold Batman and Wonder Woman #1, pick it up. This is going to be a fantastic fucking book, and I can't wait to see how badass Wonder Woman gets in this story.
Yeah. Next up for me was Batman and the Signal #2.
Okay, I did not read that one.
From the pages of Metal. This is basically Duke's learning. Well, he's learned that he's got powers. Going back to the Mr. Bloom thing, I think, right?
Right.
So he's got these powers. He don't quite know what they are. Like he can like see the problem with something. Like he has some kind of ability to see like the problem with the situation or see the solution. And so he's kind of Batman's daytime eyes and ears.
He has like foresight in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, and he's still still trying to figure out what exactly he can all do. Mm. Like he's only been able to do a couple things, and but for some reason in this one it starts out these like juvenile detention kids like with powers and stuff are they're like in a detention center, and Duke's like caught in a room with these people, and they're like coming at him and stuff. But and luckily he gets saved. I'm trying to get the page to load up, but something is screwy.
I've got it open right here.
He gets saved by the guard coming in, and she's like basically tells him like, look, we don't want Batman's like the daytime's mine. You know, we don't need Batman having a daytime representative around here. And but these like teenagers, they know he's got these like called the Sinner or something. He's like Duke's gonna be like real important to what's going on in the future, but they still haven't kind of figured out what's going on. And he goes to Bruce because he's pissed off because he thinks that Bruce has been manipulating everything all along at first, and Bruce has to like set him straight. I'm reloading it real quick right here to refresh my memory of this. But I read like 15 books.
Yeah. Bruce manipulating something? No.
Well, but he's not actually. It's like he's got it wrong, but they don't know exactly like what's going to happen with Duke. He's got this power, but they don't know exactly what he can do yet. And this group thinks he's like a really important key to something that's coming. So let's see. I'm trying to get to the and he's still learning. He's got a team now of people that help him. And you get a little bit of backstory about his dad being a construction worker. His dad was a nighttime construction worker, like a scab construction crew that would come in and work, like non-union stuff. And it says that this girl says Duke's supposed to shift the dial, whatever that means. So they're attacking him, and let's see. I'm trying to figure out who he's got a team of these two women that are helping him, like trying to train him, and they're kind of his eyes and ears, kind of like Oracle. But he manages to get away. He's got a stealth mode on his suit, and he slips out of this ordeal. Actually, is what happens. But for some reason, my computer's running really, really slow. It's just dragging this out. Long story short, he goes to Bruce, and let's get down here. It's actually kind of a long book. This is actually
it's a very long book.
Written by Scott Snyder.
Well, story by Snyder and Tony Parker. Written by writers Tony Parker.
Let's see. I don't know why I'm having such a problem with this. It's we've been having computer problems all week, folks. But I'm trying to recall the end of it because I read so many books I can't even remember how this one ends. Which maybe isn't the best review.
Yeah. Still, it's setting things up. This book's setting things up.
Yeah, it's Duke. still he's got like his own bat team almost. Like he's going to build his own kind of daytime. bad team.
Well, because Duke, everything started. I think there was some stuff going on in Zero Year because this issue does have a panel that looks like Zero Year.
Yeah, he apparently met Batman during the 0 Year.
There's a lot of stuff came into play during the Mr. Bloom story arc at the end of the New 52, and then of course he was in that book We Are Robin, where a lot of the youths of Gotham started taking on the Robin mantle, which really pissed Damian off. And then of course he was taken under the wing of Bruce, and there was that whole exchange between him and Joker at the beginning of Metal, when they found Joker imprisoned in the Batcave within the Batcave.
Yeah.
And Joker pretty much knows exactly what Batman's plan for this kid is. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
His two helpers that he has, his two ears in his voices in his head in his headset are Rico and Izzy, and Rico walks out on him because she says she don't want to stay there and watch him die. She doesn't think he's still cleaning things that make him soft, so she doesn't want to. He's not willing to go the lengths that Bruce is willing to go to.
Right.
I guess so. I guess she thinks he's soft because of that. Oh, my thing just jumped on me. Hold on. But we got this guy watching him at the undisclosed location. We needed to know it was an undisclosed location. So Duke is concerned that Batman has kind of molded him into this. I don't know. I'm having one hell of a time with my computer. But anyways, it's pretty good. Like you said, it's setting things up. I'm kind of slogging through it because it is Snyder, and I want to get to something. And it's taken a lot of setup to set up his team, to set up his training, kind of figure out what exactly he is, what he can do. He stands out in the Bat family as being the only one with powers. He's the only Bat family member that has an actual superpower.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I kind of dig it. I also read Sins of the Father, which is I don't know. It's a number one issue by Gage, Ainko, and Major.
And that's based off the Telltale Batman video game series.
Yeah. See, I'm thinking I'm wondering if to enjoy this book you have to have played the game, because there's a lot of stuff about Thomas Wayne, and Thomas Wayne actually being an evil and having manipulated, had worked with Falcone, and had actually kidnapped citizens of Gotham and tortured them in Arkham Asylum and to shut them up. And like all this stuff going on with that, and then Bruce finding this out and trying to make amends with the families of the victims of Thomas Wayne, and Wayne Enterprises is about to go out of business, and his lawyers are telling him, we need to just go bankrupt and change the name of the company, and Wayne Enterprises will be dead, and then we'll still be able to have a company. And Bruce is like, no, that's not the right thing to do. I got to make amends to the people my father hurt and all this. So he's calls a meeting with all these people, and the meeting gets shot up. Bruce assures them of their safety, and then they get shot up again. And these people get shot at the meeting. I think a couple of them actually get hit and maybe die. But somebody doesn't want these people to get their settlement or something. And they don't want any. They want Bruce Wayne. They want Wayne Enterprises to go under. Somebody's manipulating the situation. I'm assuming there's some backstory to this in the game that I don't know. But so far Bruce Wayne is trying to make up for the tragedies his father dealt out to some people in Gotham years ago, and it seems to me like I'm either missing something, or it's a mystery that will be solved later. But I don't know that Thomas Wayne being an evil torturer guy. I don't know. But there's some stuff about Bruce Wayne talking to Alfred about how could my mother be a good woman if she stood by this man that did all these things? And Alfred's like saying, your mother was unaware of a lot of it, and then at the end she did try to to stop him and talk him out of doing this. And Alfred's trying to convince him, that his father cared about their family in his own way. And so there's some father-son reconciliation issues going on, and Bruce Wayne trying to reconcile the fact that his family made it rich with organized crime in Gotham at some point, and trying to repay that back to the people that they hurt without losing Wayne Enterprises. So it's this kind of Jenga game of big business going on. But it's not bad. I guess, like I said, I'd probably have to play the game to like really be into it. Mm-hmm. Like it's not I mean, the artwork and stuff looks cool. It's not a bad Batman story. But I think I'm missing something there. Like, I think there's a lot of backstory about what went on with Thomas Wayne and some other shit that I maybe missed. But not bad. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. We don't have a number system, but I mean it's good. I would check it out. I mean, it's worth reading.
Well, finally, Deathbed by Joshua Williamson and Riley Rosmo, colors by Ivan Placencia. This is actually a Vertigo title. Being released.
I really dug this one.
I dug it.
Actually, I thought it was good.
So the story centers on a young female writer by the name of Valentine Richards, who's always wanted to be a writer, but she's been kind of through this, that, and the other thing. She's kind of taken on more of like a ghostwriter type of career, where she ghostwrites other people's stories instead of her own story.
Yeah, well, she's trying to write her own story, but she can't make any money, and she can't get it published yet, so she's working on these other things.
And when we were first introduced to her, it's really interesting because you get these shots of, a lot of drinking, pizza, a vibrator, and then her with her panties down on the toilet smoking a cigarette talking to her agent. It really is kind of like that down on your luck type of like splash page. Like this person is like rock bottom, trying to make things work and trying to get this, her career going. So she's told that she's been asked to write the memoirs of this Antonio Luna, who's like this greatest man who ever lived.
Yeah, he's kind of like the most interesting man in the world for Dos Equis.
Yeah, but nobody's ever heard of him. Nobody's ever heard of him.
Yeah, I have a feeling a lot of his adventures take place in like mystical realms and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so she goes to his mansion, is brought in by his servants, goes through the house where in the panels you see all these like weird demonic creatures in the house amidst paintings of him fighting sea serpents and
yeah, it's cool. The artwork is really cool. I really like the artwork. Yeah, it's really detailed. The spooky old haunted house that he lives in, like the creepy old, like in the swamp with like the moss hanging down. It's like it's really like typical haunted house, cool visuals.
Yeah, I mean this guy it shows that he was in Vietnam and he was like a big game tracker in like the jungle, like Indiana Jones. And she finally gets to him, and he's
kind of like Doc Sam. He's kind of like not Doc Sam.
Brock Sampson.
Well, Brock Sampson, but he's kind of with what was the guy's name? The Man of Bronze. What was the guy?
I know who you're talking about.
He kind of reminds me of that. I can't think of the title of it.
So, but when she finally meets him, of course, he's like on his deathbed, and he's dying, and he's got doctors around him. He tells everybody to leave. He wants her to write his story. And then he kind of then he just is like, haha, it's all a joke, jumps up, full wang. Full fucking wang.
It reminded me of obviously because of Dr. Man, it kind of reminded me of like an Alan Moore type story.
Yeah.
Alan Moore likes to show a lot of dick in his books.
Yeah, and there was some dick in this one. So basically, he wants her to go on this one. He's like, I want you to write this story. This is my final story. I want you to write it.
Yeah, he plans to kill all. He plans to kill all of his enemies, and have get rid the world of all of his enemies in his final days, and have her write the story of it.
So, I loved it. I thought it was a great setup book. The art is amazing. There's action in it. It makes me want to know what's going to happen next because this guy does seem like the like he's been on some fantastical adventures. What's this? And he's now going to kill all of his old enemies. I want to see what it is.
It looks like he has children too. There's pictures of him with a family.
Yeah.
With like 4 kids, and the artwork is real stylistic, but the artwork is really fucking cool. I really like the artwork. I love it looks like it's going to be a cool like adventure story, because at the end he's like, "Are you going to go with me? Or you go back to your boring life or whatever?" And she's like, "Okay, I'm in. Let's do it." And so they head off to go on adventures to kill demons, I assume. And it looks like it's going to be badass.
So from Vertigo, a great book.
Yeah, I would recommend that one, definitely. I wouldn't say it was my pick of the week, but I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. So that's this week's reviews. We want to thank you for joining us this week. We'll be back next week with more DC comic reviews, so stay tuned for that.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Nerd Rage Renegades.